I really like the idea of the FAQ, so I took the liberty of compiling some questions that I got over time. I hope you're going to enjoy this. Just keep in mind, we're not going to go into great detail and great depth on any given topic. So the first question was, are push-ups superior to bench press? No, they're not. These are different exercises. On the bench press, the load will typically be able to stabilize your shoulder blades. Your entire body you're laying down basically on a bench. And in a push-up, it's all up to you. You have to stabilize your shoulder blades, your entire body. You have to keep your spine rigid. You have to keep your spine aligned. So push-up is a full body exercise. The reason why I personally prefer it more is that there's a lot more to do in a push-up than in a bench press, and there's zero chance that you're gonna lose your head. Okay, next one is, how should I train my shoulders? You should train them lightly and carefully. There are a lot of small muscles that attach to your scapula and you do not want to injure them, okay? Also, the shoulder joint has a lot of degree of motion, has a very huge range of motion. It's really not meant to handle some insane amount of loads overhead or at an abducted position or something like that. So perfect form, lower loads. It's much better to do 20 reps than to do 2 reps. Why am I so against performance enhancers? Because in my opinion, they pose unacceptable health risks. For me, and on this channel, training is about being healthy, about feeling good, being capable to do stuff. It's not about how you look, and it's definitely not about performance enhancers. Can you explain how to boost my metabolism and why is there so much controversy? I did explain it. It took me about 40 minutes. I just haven't posted it yet. Please be patient. It will be up at some point. Metabolism is an insanely complex topic. If you're really serious about this, try to learn more about physiology. Read, listen, try to find a lot of information online. But I think your best bet would be to actually see a professional, to actually see a doctor and see if there's something that you should be doing or not. If you believe something is not right, definitely seek medical advice. Okay, lifting belts, yes or no? If you have to ask, then no. I know that I say this a lot, but just you can trust me on that. Are high reps good for muscle building? Sure, they may not be optimal for the task in question or depending on a person, but they work, yeah. My son wants to start working out. He's 15. What should we do? Okay, so working with clients who are still growing and developing requires a high level of expertise and a lot of patience. So ideally, he should get a really good trainer. He should not be training with high intensity. Definitely not. I don't have any weights. How can I build up my biceps? Okay, so chin-ups, rows, bodyweight curls, self-resistance. There are plenty of ways. Do I really need protein with every meal? Well, depends who you ask. If you ask bodybuilders, they're gonna say, ideally, yeah, you do. But if it's not doable, it's not doable. In my opinion, I don't really think that there is such a clear-cut answer on this topic. Our basketball coach makes us do a lot of clapping push-ups. Why? Short answer is power production, so that you can throw the ball very hard. If you ask me, I would probably prefer medicine ball throws. I think there is less power production, but it's a lot more relevant to your sport, and there is smaller chance that you're going to injure your wrist on a descent. Is it true that crunches are dangerous? Yes, it is. The spine is not to be curled under load. There's a lot of pressure on support structures. Ideally, keep your spine at neutral when loading it. Also, loading the spine only on one side, especially in a movement like a crunch, is not exactly the best idea, and I talk about this. It will also be up at some point. How do I train my neck? Very, very carefully. If you don't know what you're doing, it's best not to train it at all. Neck injuries are very easy to acquire and they're very dangerous. Why do you value rings so much? Because they're amongst the best pieces of equipment there is. The amount of stuff you can do on them is insane, and they offer some benefits that other equipment just doesn't. What's the heaviest band you personally use? It's a 65 kilogram band. It's quite useful for some movements. They don't take up much space. They're very easy to carry. The only problem is that if I'm training outside, I can't really carry them with me because in cold weather, they're going to snap. Ab wheel, yes or no? Yes, but it's not for everyone, and in my opinion, most people don't really need it, or they're going to be perfectly fine with some of the lighter variations. Push-ups hurt my shoulders. What should I do? You should stop doing what hurts. And ideally, find someone with knowledge to look into it. Box squats, yes or no? Look, it's just limiting the depth of the squat. It's a great tactile feedback, but do not sit up on the box and relax while you are holding a bar on your back. In my opinion, there are a lot better options to limit the range of motion of the barbell itself and not your butt. I can barely do 2 pull-ups. How do I progress from here? So right now you're in the 90% plus intensity zone. You need to drop the intensity to like 60 or 70, go back to rows, support yourself with your feet, or use bands. That's the short answer. Can I use lifting stones to get strong? Okay, so I'm guessing you mean like Atlas stones or just regular stones, I don't know. My answer to this is gonna be no. Because this is gonna be right for maybe one person in 10,000 people, and I'm just, guessing. If you wanna lift irregular objects, go for sandbags, it's a far safer option. So to continue this, Atlas stones, yes or no? If you don't compete in strongman, then no. These things require crazy amount of technique, and most people don't really have this. How do I train my forearms? Oh, there are plenty of ways. It's really hard for me to say without any context. What is the food that you're categorically against? Let's see, polyunsaturated seed oils, artificial fats, soy, ultra-processed food, sawdust, sodas, hard spirits, plenty on the list. What is the food that you could eat by the barrel? Oh, that's easy. Milk, cheese, and butter. Veganism, yes or no? Hell no. How would you finish this sentence? The fitness industry is, for the most part, a giant scam. Are calf raises a good way to train my calves? It's a start, but those should not be the only part of your training. I've talked about it in detail, and it will be up in some point. Creatine, yes or no? Yes, for some people, and in small daily doses. Pull-ups or rows? Again, no context here. Doesn't really make sense to recommend one or the other. In my personal opinion, I think a lot more people are closer to doing rows, and rows are going to offer a lot more benefits than pull-ups, but that's just my personal opinion. What did you mean by your answer to muscle activation last time? Okay, so high loads, stretching the muscle, lack of stability, having to contract in a very disadvantageous positions. These things will show higher muscle activation, but muscle activation is not linearly connected to growth or strength. And also, you want to avoid some of these superior movements and positions because they carry a really large amount of risk. What is the best way to prevent calluses? That's easy, don't train. Apart from that, gloves, pads, fat grips, but there are different ways to handle calluses, and just keeping them in check is good enough. If you're serious about strength training, I don't really think that they're going to be avoidable. How should I time my meals? I don't know. I'm a big believer in trusting your hunger, but I will admit that well-planned meal structure is highly beneficial and even a must for some people. I just don't think it's a necessity for most. Counting calories, yes or no? No. I've gone into great depth with why that's a scam and why it's useless. Be a little patient, it will be up at some point like everything else. What's something that annoys you? Believable, fake natties, people who look just a little too good to be true, selling you programs, promising you to look exactly like them if you do what they do or if you buy the same equipment or the same supplements that they're selling. So that's something really grinds my gears because these people seem trustworthy when they're actually lying. How to lose weight? Very slowly and carefully. Building muscle and losing weight is a process. Your body needs to reach a new homeostasis. It has to last. The safer you do it, the better. A lot of the times this is going to mean do it slowly. Short-term cutting and bulking plans are usually a disaster for your health, and I don't really recommend these things. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. There is a first part to this, and it's also going to be up at some point, so bear with me, and I hope you enjoyed the content.